So I want to cover in this segment, is milk a good choice if you have asthma? Why or why not? That's the focus. Scientists have discovered this based on studies in children that 1, kids with asthma have an increased risk of having a food allergy. And 2, if children have both the milk food allergy and asthma, the asthma condition could be serious. More than 25 million Americans have asthma, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. What is asthma? Asthma is a chronic lung disease where airways become inflamed and produce lots of mucus, making it very difficult to breathe. What are some of those triggers? Well, dust mites, pollen, smoke, viral infections, cold weather. But in this presentation, I want to focus on the milk. So if you have a milk food allergy, you can get a serious allergic reaction called anaphylaxis, whereby you have a very difficult time breathing, and that can be fatal. Does milk produce mucus? Most would say there is no strong link between the two. Most health organizations would say that. There's a concept that using dairy increases your mucus production, and the mucus production can conflict and have issues for you with respiratory problems and trigger your asthma. That is a theory, a concept that dates back to the 12th century. And it started with the Jewish doctor Moses, and I'm going to put his last name up there, but I'll just put it up there so you can see it. But he was talking about avoiding dairy or avoiding milk if you have asthma, because it can increase mucus production, and that can be an issue for you if you have asthma. Then we come up and we learn from Dr. Spock, and he tells us to avoid milk, and it can cause you to have respiratory problems. Again, supporting this notion of mucus production, and again, its linkage with having issues with asthma. So this theory has sustained through the years. There really isn't a strong evidence that supports mucus production and issues with asthma. But the COPD Foundation, which is the Chronic Obstructive Pulmonary Disease Foundation, reports that it doesn't produce mucus, but it could cause the phlegm to thicken. And another study that dealt with the effect of diet on the nasopharyngeal mucus secretion, and that nasopharyngeal is the upper part of the throat that's located behind your nose. And it reports a dairy-free diet was associated with significant decrease in self-reported levels of nasopharyngeal mucus. In this study, the people self-reported what their symptoms were. So the two underlying reasons being lactose intolerant. Now, a lot of people are lactose intolerant. So lactose intolerance says you don't have a sufficient amount of the enzyme lactase. You need lactase to break down the sugar in milk, which is lactose. And if you don't have a sufficient amount of that, or if it's not doing its job efficiently, then you're going to have some problems. And you may have an allergy to dairy, you may have an allergy to milk and milk products, and that could trigger your asthma. So now, is there a connection? Well, there are some connections, according to WebMD, because many have food allergies. And so if they have food allergies to milk, sometimes these same individuals will develop asthma. So there may be some connection there. And that triggering that immune system, because your immune system is having an issue with the protein that is in milk, and that could be leading to some respiratory issues which could trigger your asthma. To know that if indeed you are experiencing some health issues or some respiratory problems, or it is triggering, or you feel that it is worsening your asthma, then by all means you probably need to avoid dairy. Look at my creamsicle shake. It is delicious. all non-dairy, but very, very good, and that will quench your thirst. Always check with your health practitioner when it comes to your health. If indeed you want to come off of dairy, there are a number of things that you can use. We have a number of milk substitutes. There's rice milk, there's soy milk, cashew milk, almond milk, coconut milk. Is milk good for asthma? Well, milk in dairy may be a trigger for some. Reducing it or avoiding milk altogether could be beneficial for some individuals. There doesn't seem to be a clear link between increased mucus production, those who are ingesting milk, and that having an issue with their asthma, but more so those underlying reasons. Well, I wanted to bring that to your attention though. Well, I hope you got that information and I hope it's very clear. And look, if you want a non-dairy treat with these hot summer days coming up, look at my creamsicle shake. It is delicious, all non-dairy, but very, very good, and that will quench your thirst. Well, I'm Das, I'm out, but I look forward to seeing you next show.